Welcome to More Than Renovating, a renovate and real estate podcast. Our founder, Belinda Smith, talks to industry experts to provide you with the knowledge and information you need to make renovating for love and profit your reality. Belinda will also chat to some of her Renovation Mastery members who are just everyday people doing extraordinary things, following their passions in the renovation and property space. So, let's jump straight into the episode. Enjoy.
Hi everyone, I'm Belinda Smith, as you know, from Renovate and Real Estate, and today is another episode of our More Than Renovating podcast, and today is my special guest, Jessica Reynolds, and she's from JREY.au, a town planning company. She's the managing director of that company. It's an amazing business that's building fast. And taking over more areas, and we're going to get down and ask Jessica some questions about that business and about town planning and why, as renovators, town planners are our best friend, or especially if we're starting to do small developments or we're looking at subdivisions, etc. So good morning, Jessica.
Good morning, Belinda.
Okay, so let's start. First of all, what areas in Australia does your business currently cover, your town planning business?
So we are currently Queensland experts. So we cover everything from up at the Cape all the way down to southeast Queensland and the New South Wales border. As you said, we are looking to expand into other states, and we are sort of, I guess, worming our way in, but very little bit slowly. So hopefully we'll be everywhere by next year.
Sounds awesome. Okay, so what does the JREY stand for?
So JREY is actually a nickname that was given to me many years ago when I worked in an office. So my name is Jessica Reynolds. So JREY is just a combination of the name, and I was given a few nicknames over the years, but that was probably the most business appropriate one.
All right, so tell me a bit about yourself. Like, how did all of this develop? Why town planning for you?
Why town planning? Well, look, that takes a big step back. So back to high school, I think a lot of us don't actually know what we're going to do with our lives and our careers, but there is a lot of pressure to choose a career. Yeah. And I thought I was going to do IT. So I was enrolled to go and start a Bachelor of IT. And I just thought, you know what, I don't know if this is actually me. I think I'm just good at this particular course, but I'm not sure if it's what I want to do. So I actually took a year off and went and did TAFE, because unlike a normal person, I didn't do schoolies. I didn't go and do the gap year. My gap year was a working year where I still got another qualification through TAFE. And I ended up working for project home builders on the Sunshine Coast and then an architecture firm on the Sunshine Coast. And in that time, all I heard was people complaining about the town planners being like, they're telling us to do this, they're telling us to do that. And I was like, I want to be them. And so that's kind of where my, I guess, interest in town planning started. It purely was just a case of kind of being in and around the industry and just seeing that these were important people. And what ended up happening from there, I obviously enrolled into a bachelor at the University of Queensland, and I started my 4-year bachelor degree.
And then you worked for a company afterwards, or did you set out to start business on your own straight up?
No, so I did sort of take quick steps whilst I was doing my 4-year degree, and discovered an admin position at a local planning firm in Brisbane. So I got a good foot in the door very early on. So I had a couple of years working with them, and then another planning firm that actually just started up. And then when I graduated, there wasn't actually that many jobs around in 2011. I can actually remember I only went to 2 interviews, and I think there was probably only 5 jobs at the time. Like, it was crazy. But thankfully I had that existing experience. So I got one of the jobs and started that in 2012. And that was as an internal private town planner in an architecture firm. And then what happened from there was I really did love the work. But obviously when you go from that university to then full-time work, you kind of start realizing, wow, is this going to be the rest of my life? Coming in at, 8 or 9, leaving at 5 or 6. My eyesight started going bad. My health, I just wasn't feeling my best. And I was just getting really frustrated. I started having money, so I wanted to go travel. And in the meantime, I feel like I was getting really good at this job. I was able to quote, I was able to like work with the clients. I was able to go and figure it all out on my own. And I was just like, you know what? I just kind of got a little bit, I guess, crazy. I was young.
Not crazy.
On my own.
Yeah, good on you.
I'm going to give it a go. What's the worst case? I can always go back to working for someone else. I'd probably read the some Tim Ferriss books and other things, and had started sort of exploring what other lifestyle options are out there. And I just thought starting my own firm so I could run it and live the life I wanted was the best option for me at the time.
And so Tim Ferriss, what is it, 4-hour work week? I'm not quite sure any of us actually have a 4-hour work week.
No,
he sold a lot of copies based on that title.
Yes. And look, one thing you can learn from that is marketing is everything.
Yeah, marketing is everything. That's true. And leverage. I learned leverage from that book. I'm like, get everybody to do everything else for me if I can. All right. So what exact services does your business provide, JREY?
Yeah, so we are a private town planning consultancy. So when people hear town planner, most people revert to their days of SimCity and thinking that's what a town planner does, you know, plays video games all day. And it is somewhat true. So there are strategic planners and there are statutory planners. The strategic planners generally work for government, and they're the guys that create legislation. They kind of say, this can go here, that can't go there. These are the types of uses we want. And then the statutory planners take that legislation and have to basically implement it on the government side. And on the private side, we're working for our clients to make sure that we can either A, fit within those guidelines, or if we don't, how can we work the legislation to make sure that this logical outcome can actually happen and our clients can get development approval. So again, development approval, you might hear it called council approval, development permit, DA. There's a lot of different terms out there, but basically it's just the planning approval so that you can either subdivide your land, build townhouses, build that industrial complex, maybe do a renovation to your house. So that's what we do day to day. And so we have 2 core services, and you'll know when you need a town planner at these 2 different times. So the first one is, what can I do with my land, or can I get this approved? So that's the first time people come to us. And the second time is when you know you need a development approval. So generally either council, your designer, maybe a mentor, property mentor will tell you you need to go and get your council approval development permit. So those are the 2 times you'll need a town planner.
And so a lot of people think that if they want to find out what they can do or how they can best utilize their land, a lot of people think that they should go to the council and ask at the council. Would you care to share your thoughts?
Look, I'm probably a bit biased.
Going to the council and asking.
Council's a great free option if you kind of just want to sound something out, but you're probably not going to get the best advice. So councils generally put their students on the front desk. So again, you're taking the risk that you've got someone who doesn't really know what they're talking about. You've also got someone doing it for free who maybe doesn't even want to be there. So they're just going to not fob you off, but they might just, give you the quickest response possible that isn't really, again, giving you what you need. So I always recommend, if you're serious about wanting to do something with a site or you have a project, go and get an opinion from a professional, and also make sure that it's paid for so that there is some kind of accountability. I see a lot of people, as soon as you say free advice or talking to council, it's great first step maybe, but you're probably not too serious.
I'm on Team Jess on that one, but I'll put it in more direct terms. A council will say no quicker than they'll say yes. How's that?
Absolutely, because it's easier for them. Whereas us, I guess there's a lot of planners are going, there's plenty of times where council have said no to us straight away, but we've managed to get an approval. And that's the thing, a private town planner should be looking at, is this actually a logical outcome, not just does it fit within a box?
Yeah. And a council's not as willing to explore the options and to tweak a few things or to suggest to you what you need to change to actually make it fit. They'll just say, No.
Yeah. Until you're a big wig,
Yeah.
most councils aren't they're not working for you. Some
Yeah.
are better than others and they will give you a little bit more advice. But the general rule is they've got a political position to protect the scheme. And that sometimes the easiest option is to, again, just tick boxes. It's not to you.
Yeah. And so when you started your business, what surprised you? What surprised you?
What did surprise me? I think just how fast time goes and how many ideas you want to implement, how you picture this business and you know what you want it to be, but just how quick time goes and how long things take to enact. That's probably been my biggest pain point.
Yeah. How long it takes to actually put things together.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about your team on the ground.
Yes. So my team we have an in-house team, but we actually operate in a very different manner. So I'm in the realms of creating a town planning marketplace. So we actually align ourselves with local town planners who have their own independent businesses that they've been operating. We source them, we test them, and then we handpick them. And then when we have clients come to us, any place in Queensland at the moment, we know that we have someone in that area that we can then go to for that professional localized advice. But then we are that, I guess, medium between who can make sure that that advice actually aligns with what the client wants. So again, I could talk about this for days as to why I have chosen this particular model for town planning. But after being in the industry for 10 years, working as a private town planner, I just know that not all town planners are created equal. Yeah. And as well, there are pros and cons to using a local planner, and there are pros and cons to using someone who's not in that local area. And there definitely is pros and cons. There's definitely can be cons to using someone who has been working in a local council area for the last 10, 20 years. Sometimes they're not as willing to push the boundaries because they've been in that community for so long. So we're kind of finding that good balance of being able to find the local advice, but also going, hey, maybe we could push this as a bigger business for the client.
Which is awesome for me because I have renovators from all around. So the more connections you make and the bigger your business becomes, the more exciting it is for someone like me who can just refer you the one company. And there's a lot of comfort in working with the one group.
Yeah, absolutely. So we love being that one point of contact, but then knowing that we can give our clients the best service possible, as well as the most expert advice that they can get.
Yeah.
It's a great combination.
I agree. Okay. So describe to me your client, your everyday client.
Our everyday client. I always find this really difficult because we work with a range of different clients. So we have our direct consumers. So those are our mum and dad property owners who might be doing a renovation, up to professional property developers and project managers. And then a lot of our clients are actually more referral partners. So we work with a lot of architects, building certifiers, builders, building designers, who then we work with one-on-one and assist their clients. So we have kind of a business client, and then we have a sort of direct client. And we also don't like to sit there and talk, our client is, he's John, he's 50, he likes fishing and his family. We don't go down that. I prefer more of a values-based client. Yeah. So our clients are the type of people who value efficiency. Yeah. And these are the types of things that we look for. We look for people who really want to work with us. We have a range of people that we work with.
Oh, efficiency is so important. If you're looking at any type of property and doing something with a property, you want your answers reasonably soon. It's just time. Time is money. Time is money. Yeah.
It is.
But particularly if you're like us in the renovation space, where we may have bought a property, or we're looking for properties and we need to know what opportunities those properties are going to present us. You really need answers fast. All right, so tell me about a personality trait or strength of yours that's enabled you at such a young age to build such a phenomenal business.
You gave me some questions before this interview, and it was one where I was like, oh, I wrote down like resilience. That's something that's really, you know what? That is such a lie. The reason why I've done well in this industry is because I win.
Yeah. Tenacious.
Argument.
Yeah.
My father said I should have been a lawyer, but I was not interested in that. But what I do love about town planning is clients can come to me, they can say, hey, we want to do XYZ. And I'll be like, oh, the legislation doesn't really help. But if I can see the vision and see that it actually makes sense for that particular property and location and community, I will go at it.
Like a tiger. That is fantastic. And that's probably really helped you in building your business, because you just want it to like, you can see the goal and you'll just work towards it bit by bit. You just get
100%.
there.
I think you've got to have a passion. And I guess that's another thing, is a passion to see a result. You want to have an impact on this world. And that's the way that I see my impact, is helping clients make things happen that maybe wouldn't happen without me.
So exciting. And enough tenacity to follow through and to keep at it, and to, dust yourself off if you get a no and think, okay, what can I do next? So that being said, once a town planner takes on your project as a client, what does it look like? Like, what does the process look like? How long does it take, and how many times can you get knocked back or protest and,
yes, absolutely. So this is one of those, how long is a piece of string, and it fully depends on the type of project you have, but I'll give some generalities. Yeah. Oh God, I'm making up words now.
Yeah, that's okay. So do I all the time.
And again, I'll talk about Queensland specifically, because that is, whilst I am now a town planning business owner, my experience as a town planner is in Queensland. Yeah. So when you engage with a town planner, let's just say you're going straight to development application, you've got a site where you're subdividing and maybe renovating an existing house on there. Yeah. That sort of application process, I would say budget your time for about 3 to 4 months. So you're going to need a surveyor, you're going to need your town planner to actually do the documentation, you might need an engineer. So that kind of process will take, again, once you start involving engineers, if they're needed, budget a month. The actual assessment process for a code assessable application in Queensland can be anywhere from a month to 3 months. Under the legislation, 3 months is the norm. And that's what we're kind of seeing as well during these periods where maybe some councils are a bit understaffed. But if you get someone who's really efficient and you've got a very compliant development, a month should be enough within that assessment period. So let's just say you lodge your application and council have had the application for 2 weeks. So between 2 to 3 weeks, generally you'll get some advice back from a local Queensland council. And that will either be, we're happy with everything, but most of the time there's an issue. There's always an issue.
Find one. Yep.
And that can range from either an email with one item, such as, can you please, notate the plan with XYZ, or it could be a 5-page document saying, we hate this. You're very non-compliant. So in that sense, we call them an information request, and you have, as an applicant, 3 months to respond to that. So most of the time we try and do it as quick as possible, because efficiency trumps a lot of things. As soon as you start delaying those responses, the council assessment manager might change, they go on holidays, and it just becomes a little bit more chaotic, and things slow down. So once you respond to that, generally if you've met all the items that council have said and they have no further issues, you'll just go straight to your approval. If not, generally council will come back to you with a further issues notice, and you can have a few of those. Again, it just depends on your project and your relationship with the council. It's very rare for a council to just refuse straight up. We have had it happen, but it's generally because it's a political thing. So if you've got a bit of a politically controversial project, sometimes they will just use it on the spot and go, hey, go off to court. But most of the time, councils don't want to actually refuse your application if they can see that there are options for you to change your design or make amendments, so that they can approve it. They do want to see approvals. Every council has a different, checkbox for their employees and what approvals they need to get out and numbers and things like that. But yeah, it's pretty rare to just receive a straight up refusal. You will have a lot of warning if that's where it's going. And your private town planner should also be warning you through that process as well, and giving you options as to whether you change your design or what your next steps will be if that's court, etc. But being in the small project space, that's probably going to be pretty rare.
So do you find that some people come to you with ideas where you just think, oh, this is just too much, this will never fly?
Absolutely. And I guess that's the prerogative of a private town planner. And that's why, you know, if you really believe in a project, and the first town planner says, no, I don't really believe it, go and get some other opinions. And that's the benefit of our platform that we've basically been creating, is that you can go and get different independent opinions without having to, you know, call around and feel that guilt. Because, you know, there are things where I've taken them on and other town planners have said no, and then we've got the approval through. And there's probably other times where I've said, look, I'm just not comfortable with this. It might be something that maybe I ethically don't agree to, such as, you know, excessive removal of trees and things like that in, you know, and I just don't want the project. I don't want to see the koalas gone. So there can be things like that happen. So it really depends on you. Like, get the advice, get the information to make educated decisions, but don't always take the first no as a no. You've got to, if you're taking on a project, you should kind of know how you feel about it.
I think everybody has a responsibility too, as one of your clients, to take a really good look at the area and be respectful about what you're proposing, and what you're basically landing in the laps of all the local residences should it get passed. So
absolutely, leaving a legacy.
Yeah. So is there one particular person or something that you've done that's really influenced you in being either a town planner or just in your life, your tenacity and your get up and go, your business startup prowess?
Yeah, I always love when people get these types of questions and they have a very clear answer. And I would say there isn't one specific person. I've definitely had a lot of mentors and people I've looked up to in my time in business. So it's been probably a good nearly 8 years now. And there's always been different people at different stages of the journey. There are always people who I've respected their business, prowess and their ability to also have a home life. Those are the types of people that I've always looked up to, and they've given me their time. And that has been so invaluable, because it's just, getting people's time is just amazing. It's such a good feeling. And it really drives you.
Yeah, I agree. And it's all about the energy of people who have done well and are doing well and who are excited about what they do every day. I don't know, they just, you know, the old saying, they vibrate at a different level. Like, you can just feel it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if somebody was starting off and they were a young person, having done what you've done, what would you suggest to them as the best way of them taking off in their town planning career?
So one thing, as someone who has employed a lot of people and dealt with students and tutored over the years, I would say don't rely on other people to give you the answers. So the thing with planning is legislation consistently changes, the politics consistently changes. So it's pretty hard to find one person that has the exact answer or has been in that particular situation, because yes, they might have done that 5 years ago, but the legislation since has changed. So what I'd say is you need to get very good at being able to quickly find the information and work it out yourself. So don't rely on other people to know the answer, especially when you're dealing with, say, government, and you think, oh, you know, they're the government, they run the legislation, they should know the answer. A lot of the time, don't assume that because you get an answer that it's the right one.
Right answer.
So you just got to find the solutions yourself.
Yeah. In other words, you're contacting more people in government organisations who might be new or inexperienced, who are just giving you what they believe to be true at that time, which may not be accurate. Yeah,
absolutely. And with planning is, like, especially in Queensland, very performance based. So you need to be able to figure out and justify your opinions, and that's research. It's all the things you kind of learn in uni, you know, writing theses and reports.
It is kind of like, well, I guess it's like back in my day, I was a policewoman, and so we would take matters to court, and it would always be this has happened and here's my proof and this is why you should accept my proof. And then they come back at you and say, well, this is what, the defendant did and blah, blah, blah. So you're like, no wonder you were wired or thinking about law, because this is very much like it in the property space.
It is just without the additional pressure and stress. It's a great career. It's just, you definitely have to approach it in more of a legal sense.
Yeah.
And just being able to find the solutions and back yourself.
Find the solutions, prove a point, back yourself, and get things over the line for your client.
100%.
Yeah, fantastic. Where are your clients coming from at the moment?
Where do they come from? Predominantly through word of mouth, because I keep changing our website. So SEO is not great at the moment, but word of mouth. So again, we have a really big base. So when I first quit my job back in 2012 in an internal architecture firm, a lot of those architects actually went out and started their own businesses. Yeah. So that's where they'd already worked with me, so they were comfortable, they knew what I could do. And that's just grown and grown and grown. And by the time we got to the 5-year mark, it's sort of just, even if we did no marketing, that's kind of how it works. We have a good reputation in Queensland, and that's where our work comes from.
Yeah, I actually found you through property groups and also via LinkedIn. So there you go.
Perfect. We're definitely out there.
yeah, you're out there. All right. So what are your big plans for the future?
I'll keep it short.
No, be wild.
Yeah. Over the next few months, we're basically going nationwide. So we are releasing a town planner marketplace is what I'm sort of summarizing it as, but it'll be a place where any property owner or developer can go and actually access professional expert town planning advice quickly and affordably. And on that platform, you'll also be able to ask for one opinion, or you can ask for 2 opinions, so that you can actually make more educated decisions. And then if you're ready to go, then we can connect you with those planners and we'll work through the process with you. So I'm pretty excited for it. It'll be a first nationwide as far as that model goes within the town planning space, but I 100% back it. And I just can't wait to get more people using it outside of Queensland.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great idea. So come on down to New South Wales. That's the first place. And I know a lot of my Queensland property owners and investors use your services already. So it's really nice for me to be able to do this interview with you today. Just in closing, I'd like to ask, what does Jessica do to relax or spend time? You mentioned travel.
I don't relax.
There you go.
No, I do a lot actually. I'm a very big gym enthusiast. So, my secret skill is being able to do a lot of pull-ups. And I'm a kiteboarder during the summer when the winds are right. Yeah. And I love to walk my dog. But most of my time I'm actually looking at town planning and business.
Me too. For me to relax, I'm reading a home beautiful magazine out in the sun, or House and Gardens, or wandering around the streets looking at people's front doors guttering, windows style.
Look, at least we like what we do.
Yeah, we like what we do. Or wandering around shops looking at what furniture and fixtures and and cushions and throws and brand new to market. So you're either all in or you're not all in. That's my thing.
I agree.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me, Jessica, today.
Thank you for having me. Really appreciate it.
JREY.au is where you find Jessica.
Yes, come follow us. Instagram, LinkedIn, we're everywhere. And then you can see when we release everything.
You can. And guys, if you're watching this, you'll obviously find links to Jessica's business underneath in the comments. So have a beautiful day.
Thank you.